Welcome into week 4 of Thicc Athletes Month here on the Missed Call podcast. This week's special guest is Norfolk State's first baseman, Korey Singh. Great interview, great guest, a bunch of guys being dudes. Oh, and it was his first time on a podcast. We're out here snatching V-cards every week. Ted Larson, V-card. Justin Witt, give me that goddamn V-card. Joe York, we're taking that V-card. Hope you guys enjoy. Woo! What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 87 of the Missed Call podcast. This is Cubwood here with Sauce Sartori and special guest from Norfolk State, Korey Singh. Korey, thank you so much for stopping by today.
Oh yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Hey,
we appreciate you being here. This is another one of those situations where, we just we see somebody on Twitter, we say, "Hey, come on the pod," and we're lucky enough that you responded back to us, and here we are.
Oh yeah, for sure. I remember when I saw the tweet, it was funny. We were coming home from Kentucky, and I was like, "Yo, these people asking me to be on a podcast. Like, yeah, it's dope. Like, I gotta get on it." So yeah, it was pretty cool.
I hop on anybody I see. So I think somebody sent me you. Somebody sent me you because we were just looking for big boys to interview, and they're like, "Hey, someone sent me the GIF of you that was on some other Twitter account."
Yeah, it was like Foul Pole. Put out. Yeah, that was pretty cool too, because that's a big like college Twitter thing. So that was pretty cool to be on that. But yeah, I got that. I blew up more than I thought. It got like 2,000 likes and stuff. I was kind of surprised.
And then you got us bothering you.
Say that again, Cup.
I said then you got us bothering you.
Nah, not at all.
Well, I think the cool thing is with college baseball, sometimes it's not marketed the same way that college basketball or college football is. So it's hard to stumble across like the lesser known programs, the lesser known players. And so when you get put on a foul pole or something like that, and then we find you, that kind of stuff helps us most definitely. And I'm sure it helps, fans of college baseball find their new favorite players and stuff. So,
right.
But anyway, long story short, here we are.
Right. Exactly.
So, Korey, as you know, this interview is part of Thicc Athletes Month, and what that basically means is we think that big boys don't necessarily get the respect that they deserve when it comes to performing in sports, right? It's like, oh, the big guy is huffing and puffing, get him the oxygen tank or whatever, right? And maybe that's true.
Yeah, no doubt.
Maybe that's true, but at the same time, sometimes it's not. I'm curious if you, as a larger guy, have any sort of laws that you abide by just because you are a big guy.
Like on the field?
In general, on the field, in life, either way.
I mean, the number one rule for me is like I embrace my bigness. Like, I'm not scared. Like I like it. I like to flex it that I'm a big guy. Like most people don't really, like have it, or most big guys are like kind of scared, like because they're bigger than the average guy. But I think growing up, I was like that because I was always the bigger kid. But being in college kind of helped me like embrace it. Like it's who I am. I think the second rule is like if you're a big guy, you got to be funny. Like you got to have a good personality.
Yeah.
No one likes a big guy. It's like boring. Like. I think that's a big number 2 rule. So yeah.
Do you think being bigger makes you funny? Because I used to be big, and people told me that if I'm not as funny as I used to be.
I think it definitely helps for sure. Like because I think everybody's like you already got the people like looking at you past the eye test. Like people already got your attention. So then you're funny. Like damn. Like what else can this guy do? So,
I think part of it about being a bigger guy is like, like you're not necessarily full of yourself, if you will, right? Like some guys who are super fit tend to be a little bit full of themselves, and that's not everybody. That's just some people. I want to make that concession. No, I'm not throwing any jabs. That's the point I'm making, is I'm making small concessions to say, like, that's only some people. But, like, as a big guy, we don't necessarily take ourselves so seriously. So we're able, I feel, in a lot of situations to just be loose because, hey, I'm here. I'm big, and fuck it. What else are we gonna do? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But
No, for sure.
I do find it interesting though. A lot of the guys that we've talked to, it's been a lot of laws about how you interact outside in the outside world, right? What you were saying is more of like an internal, like this is the mindset you go into as being a big guy.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was cool. That definitely this is like the 10 commandments that we are making, the commandments of being a big guy. So that's important that we have some of that inward looking stuff for our 10 commandments.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's all about the mental side of things too. I think a lot of people don't really view that side of life. I think it has a lot to do with with how you perform and stuff.
Korey Singh, big self-care guy. Respect. Love that.
Oh yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, for sure.
So Korey, can you let the people know your measurements, if you will? How tall, how big you are?
I'm 6'1", and I weighed in today. I just went to the doctor's this morning at 270. So
good for you.
It's not bad. Yeah, I'm trying to. I know it's Thicc Athletes Month, but I'm trying to use this time to shed some more weight. I think that's really like holding me back as a player. So, but I mean that's not like a bad weight range for me. I like to get down to like 255, 260. So.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, too, we're not the point of the month is not to promote obesity, but rather like there are guys out there that are larger than life, but they're also really true gritty athletes, and that's what we're looking at. So the number on the scale doesn't quite determine whether you get a bid or not, Korey. I think already you definitely get a bid.
I appreciate it.
Of course, man. Of course. So I read that as an 11-year-old, you were a pitcher, and that your favorite pitch that you liked to throw was your two-seamer because it moved a lot. Now, you've moved on from throwing off the mound, but would you say that the statement "all good ball players were once pitchers" is true?
Ooh. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Definitely. And like now that I think about it, like growing up, some of the kids that I've played with, like that are either in college now or in the minors right now or indie ball, like thinking about it, like they all pitch. Like all those guys pitch. Even guys that don't play anymore that I knew pitch that were still some dogs. Like I definitely think that statement's true for sure.
Yeah, and I don't really know what it is that translates to good, like pitching at one point in your life and then also being a good ball player later on. I don't know what it is that makes that equation work, but I found the same thing. Like if you talk up and down a roster of a college baseball team, professional team, semi-pro, whatever it is, a lot of those guys are like, yeah, I used to pitch when I was in, when I was 10 or when I was 12 or whatever. Right. Like those guys pitched on their little league teams.
When did you stop pitching?
Yeah. When did I stop?
Yeah.
The last game I pitched in was my freshman year of high school. I closed out a game for 1 inning, and that's all she wrote. Never stepped on the mound again.
Closer's such a badass. It's such a badass like spot to have as a pitcher.
Oh yeah,
you're in there for 3 batters basically.
Yeah, 3 batters. That was it. JV baseball.
But at the same time, too, like think about like if you're behind in the game, it's the bottom of the 9th inning. The closer comes on. Obviously, that's their best relief pitcher, and then to top it off, a guy your size steps on the mound. I'm like, well, fuck me,
right? No, for sure, definitely. Like if you got the size for a closer and like you come in there like throwing it, like you get feeling dugout like damn, like. We're fucked.
Game's
like,
over. Game's over. Wrap it up.
Did you have a walkout song as a pitcher?
Huh?
Did you have a walkout song for as a pitcher?
In high school, we couldn't, but like our pitchers in college, yeah, they do. We couldn't in high school. I wish we could have. But
what would your walk-up song have been?
Yeah.
Man, as a pitcher, you got like time to you got more selections because you got about like a minute maybe that. So like, I'd probably go with somewhere with 50 Cent. He's got some good long song like good intros to start with. I might go with 50 Cent.
Tell me why HBK song came into my head first.
HBK.
Heartbreak Kid. WWE.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one
that would
too.
actually be good. That would actually be good.
I
I didn't think about that.
Any Metallica song is always good. Like if you go with Metallica, that's always a decent option. Mariano Rivera used Enter Sandman for 18 years. But I've always thought, how many, Cub?
Wild Thing.
Wild Thing.
That's
Yeah,
the
you're
one.
right. I've always thought that my walk-in song would be "God Will Cut You Down" by Johnny Cash if I was a relief pitcher.
Nah, yeah, that I've heard. Like, I've never heard that in the game, but I've heard that like as an idea. That would be sick.
That's a mean
That would be
walk-in
sick.
song, dude.
Yeah,
The,
that would
the
be
gate
sick.
opens.
Yeah,
He's talking about killing you.
that would be sick. It would be crazy. That definitely. I think that definitely has a big effect on like you know, like the guys coming in or like the hitters walking up to the plate. I think that definitely makes a difference.
Yeah,
Having a good
creating that
walkout.
atmosphere, creating
Yeah,
that
for
like
sure.
dangerous atmosphere. Like I don't know what's gonna go on. I don't know what's happening.
Right. Yeah.
Any Johnny Cash
Exactly.
song.
That too.
That's true.
Yeah.
So Korey, we recently found out that you're starting your journey as a YouTuber, and like I told you, this is our first interview that's going to be on YouTube.
Mhm.
You got any tips for us, and what do you plan for your channel?
Well, it's funny that YouTube channel is actually started for a class this semester.
Okay.
I had to make one but it's actually like because my major is communications, like video editing, and it's actually like kind of cool, like making the videos and putting them on YouTube. But
You trying to be our intern?
I mean, what's up? What I mean, right now I'm not as smooth with the camera, and like the school lets me rent one for free, so like that's how I make all the videos. But honestly, like I have no tips. There's a guy on the team who is really good with video editing, and he helps me out a lot. Like I just take out like record the stuff, all the film, and then he will help me edit it. But I'm not as good with the technology, so I really have no tips for you guys.
I mean, I definitely understand. Like I get lost in the technology sometimes too.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it is. It just all seems so overwhelming to me, especially when you talk about like the multiple camera angles and doing the scenes. If you're doing like scene work and doing the scenes over and over and over to try to get like different cuts and stuff the right way, it kind of overwhelms me. Which is why like if I were to do, if we continue to do this YouTube thing, or we're making not only the podcasts that go on, but also you're talking about like content videos. That kind of stuff to me is like it has to be very in succession, right? Like you can't have anything too elaborate or with so many scenes that it's like it's crazy. For me, like it would just be those those 10-minute videos that are just content and they're very two-dimensional.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely see what you're saying because it's like on some of those video editing apps, there's so many options on like what to do with the videos and like I definitely know like there's some times where I would be on it and I would just start to be sweating because I couldn't figure it out. I would be getting frustrated. So I definitely know what you mean.
Are you gonna still work on the channel, or are you just done because it was for your class?
Yeah, I'll still like add it and stuff because the cameras that they let us rent out are pretty nice. So a lot of the guys on the team get a kick out of it. It's an easy A because all the projects I've done have just been with guys on the team, so they love it. Like I don't know if you guys saw the last one, like when we were on the bus, we were going to play Radford, and I made one called "Life on the Bus," just interviewing some of the guys, and like we had every road trip we did like a little wrestling match. Like we put two guys together, like make a flyer for it, like do it up real big, have a press conference, and it's like it's just stuff like that. I was gonna film, before all this crazy stuff happened. But
That's almost a perfect transition to our next topic.
Yeah. What have you been doing?
The coronavirus.
Yeah, what have you been doing?
Working out. I've been going to the school. The school's still they're closed, but I saw an officer one day when I was going to work out, and he saw I was wearing a baseball sweatshirt, so he kind of let me off the hook. They let me go on the field and use the bleachers. So other than that, I've just been doing that and hanging out at the house. I'm still living down here right now. Both my roommates moved out, so it's just me.
Just chilling, hanging out, having a good time.
Yeah.
No, I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
I just, we've talked to so many athletes on the podcast, off the podcast about what's going on. You're in college, and obviously everything happened so quickly. How did it personally? How did it kind of affect you and even your team when everything came down and they're like seasons are canceled?
Yeah, it was definitely kind of like everything just kind of stopped for a minute. Like it was surreal. Like it didn't. It just felt like it wasn't gonna happen. Like the weekend, everything got canceled. We had lined up because the Ivy Leagues were the first leagues to cancel everything. So we were scheduled to play Princeton, and that got canceled. And we had lined up. Who was it? It was Monmouth, I think, and then we played UConn twice. So like for us, like the type of school we are, like playing those big schools is like that makes us hungry. So like we were really like excited for that, like to prove ourselves to those, and then that happened, and then you see the seniors, some of those guys like how they had to go out like that. It was hard. It was hard, especially because we were just starting to pick things up as a team. For sure, we were about to get hot, so. It was definitely tough.
What was the locker room like when the news broke that the season was over with?
Well, we were originally on spring break, and they had told us, or we had just gotten back from Kentucky. We were out of practice. It was a little like lackadaisical in the infield. We brought us all in. They were actually like they're kind of yelling and saying, you don't know when the season is about to end, and so we finished our practice. Then later in that day, we were all gone. Practice was over, and that's when we found out. So then we had a meeting the next morning. Everybody was just quiet for real. It was like, what is there to say? It's just like, is this really real? Is it 30 days something that's like set in stone? Like, but so it was definitely different, huh?
It's heartbreaking, especially for the seniors that they're done.
Oh yeah, both of my roommates are seniors, and one of them is. Hold on, can we I gotta run out and go.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Mr. Strauss. All right, where are we at? So I can make sure we know where we're at.
Oh yeah, both of my roommates.
Where did I just put my?
One of them is. Hold on.
You'll just come back. You'll just come back and say. It's especially heartbreaking because of the seniors. That's where we left off.
It's a 30 days.
Where did I leave my phone? Will you call my phone?
What? Call it?
Will you call my phone? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I found it.
Was it in your butt?
No, I had it like on my bedpost, but everything in here is dark.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't see it because everything on the phone is dark.
My fault.
There you go.
It's all good.
I'll just redo the question. You just cut off.
Yeah.
All right, 1, 2, 3. It's heartbreaking because some of those seniors, that was their last game was a few days ago. So
right, and both my roommates are seniors. One is from Florida, one's from New York. One from Florida is really big into athletic training. Really smart kid. It's nice. He lived right across the hall from me in our house. So when I had problems, I would just go next door. He would help me out. I was like a trainer 24/7. And I felt for him because he was a pitcher and, he's already got interns lined up and jobs for he's ready to get it going with his life. And he actually started our last game. And last season, he lost to them. It was ODU, like an in-town rival. They're like 10 minutes from us. Lost to them, came back, started the last game of this past season. Had like 10 or so strikeouts, came back, won, but that was to end his senior year. And like seeing him, he was crying like at the end of when we found out, like it's just heartbreaking. Like that's how he had to end it. He doesn't have another shot. So
yeah, it's tough, man. And that's one of the other things is there's a lot of people saying like, hey, well, why don't we just see what happens in June or July, and if and if we're able to play, we'll just play. Well, there's seniors who aren't going to go pro, and they have to get their lives started, and people aren't putting those things together. Even look at the bigger schools. Even the bigger schools, they have guys that are not going to go pro, who have lives to start. They're not going to go pro. So it's one of the most significant conundrums that we've ever been in, and I don't know that we're ever going to see anything like this ever again. I don't know that we have seen anything like this. So it's
Right.
crazy and completely unprecedented.
No, yeah, for sure. It's crazy. I don't even.
That's the
Yeah,
best
go
word to
ahead,
use.
man.
It's like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's crazy.
You can only say so many different things about it.
It's like it's hard for like just seniors who don't even play sports like myself. Like I'm never going to do radio again for my school. I'm never going to get to call a softball game for the school. Any other sport, again, I'm done. So like what we're doing here is all I have until sports comes back. And hopefully I get the job I was hoping to get, but sports is on a standstill, so it's kind of like a panic for people who have to get jobs.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel for all seniors. Like, I mean, because no one wants to. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You probably won't even get to walk.
I'm not. I tweeted out today.
Sucks.
I tweeted out today that I'm not going to get to scream, "Hey, Mom, I did it" at the top of my lungs in the arena.
Yeah, a once in a lifetime opportunity. It's crazy, but
it's tough.
So, yeah, it's super tough. But maybe we should switch gears. Korey, you started off your career at James Madison and you redshirted. Then you moved on to JUCO ball, and now you're at Norfolk State. My question is, it seems that there's a lot of movement towards JUCO ball and then transferring to a larger university or a larger college, and that seems to be the game plan from the get-go. Like, I'm going to go here, and then this school is going to take me from there. What's that process like, and why is it such a popular movement?
I think it's super popular, and I think I can speak. I definitely speaking for me, and I'm sure kids that have taken the same route as me will probably say the same thing. Is like going into that first university is you don't have. I had no doubt. I thought about being there all 4 years. Like I had no doubts about going to JUCO and going to another school. Like when I committed in high school, that was the goal, was to be there. All 4 years. And when I got there, things didn't really work out. How in my favor, and not always on them. It was my fault too. Some of the stuff, and then going to a JUCO. Honestly, I think the best way to describe that process is scary. Like, because being at James Madison, what we got there was insane. Like the way you got treated, the way your equipment was laid out for you, the way your uniform. It was like you were. To me, it felt like I was in the majors. I walked into the locker room, and my name was already hung up, and my jersey was already there, and I was just like, "Wow, this is crazy." So, but then you go to JUCO, and we go to the locker room, and there's rats crawling in it. I'm not even using the locker room. The house is my locker room. We got a short minibus. Everybody's doubled up in a seat together, and you get to the hotel room, and it's 2 beds, but 4 or 5 guys are in a room. Like
guys being dudes. Nice.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, and then like for me, it's like you go through the fall. Like nothing comes up. I had a few schools contact me, but nothing, crazy. And it's scary. You're like thinking, okay, I left this luxury place to go down to build, at a not so luxury, like hoping to get back up there. So it's scary. It's like every day is really a grind. That's why I think people that knock JUCO, like they really don't know what they're talking about, because it's if you let one day go by in JUCO, that could be your career to get back up to that level. So I think it's a scary process, but if you're dedicated, it all works out, as you see.
So what was it like going from team to team every year? Like we talked about you're a big self-care, self-love guy. So what was that like mentally for you? How hard was that?
That definitely that sucked for sure. But for me, it's like everywhere I've gone or every team I've played on, I've never struggled with making friends. I've never struggled with being, someone to talk to on the team, or like coming up and just having a good conversation, whether it's about you or me, it doesn't matter. But to me, it's like, that was never a concern. It was, to me, are these coaches, I know coaches are going to sugarcoat things in the recruiting process, but how honest can I get them to be in the recruiting process? I want them to. That was more my biggest fear, but the meeting the new kids that never really. That was different. It was always like 3 years of who's going to be on this team. Who am I going to be cool with, or so that was never really a problem. I've always had it pretty nice, making friends and stuff. So,
Can you give us your best JUCO story?
oh man, absolutely. One comes to the mind. Okay, so this I still tell guys about this story. It's great. I won't say any names, but so. Let's see. The JUCO I went to was Patrick Henry, and SD2 Region 10, I believe. And when we got back from Christmas break, our head coach left, and our assistant coach was head coach. I was out. I had broken my hamate bone, so I had surgery on my hand.
Okay.
That was another part that made it scary because I didn't know what was about to happen with that. But so our first series, we did this crazy thing where we went to go play Lewisburg twice at Lewisburg, which is in North Carolina. And then the next day, we came home and played them twice at our park. So we did like a little 4-game weekend series. So we went there, came back, and then that week,
where was your JUCO at?
In Martinsville, Virginia, outside of Danville.
Okay.
Yeah. So the starting pitcher, our number one guy, our Friday night guy, shoved against Lewisburg. I mean, absolutely, like 13 Ks. He was Region 10 pitcher of the week. Like the kid was crazy, and he was a righty. I always say he was a stock righty to me. He was like probably like 5'9", 5'10". Fastball was like 90 to 92. Good stuff, but it was there. It was hittable, very hittable. But he shoved against them, and so this kid is crazy. The story is about the pitcher. And this guy is like someone I've never seen before. Like, for example, Martinsville is nothing to do, and the only ABC store is Walmart. So the kid wanted to go to Walmart, try to get some beer. He was just asking random people in the parking lot. That didn't work out. Beat up some dude in the parking lot, and then bounce, right? He bounced. And keep in mind, he don't have a car. He's on a moped. This kid is on a moped.
Oh, no.
On a moped. On a moped. So we're scheduled to have practice at like 3:00. The kid somehow gets beer, and we're all at practice, and we're like, yo, we called him Bruiser. That was his nickname. We're like, yo, where's Bruiser? Where's Bruiser? And our coach tells us to huddle in. We at home plate, and he's telling us, and he's pissed. And for no reason, we're like, yo, what happened? He's like, man, I got like, I'm trying to have a winning season, and I got guys pissed drunk driving on their moped, trying to outrun cops to get a DUI. The kid got a DUI on the way to practice on his moped, trying to outrun the cops. Ran a red light, tried to outrun him on a moped. The cops pulled him over, tried to run through the woods. Cops got him, looked in his bag, full of beer, everything. Kid goes to jail. This is our starting pitcher, best pitcher we got. Kid goes to jail. Coach has to go and bail him out so it doesn't get leaked to like the Martinsville press.
Oh man!
And the kid gets kicked out and gets sent back home.
This is the best episode of Cops I've never seen.
Right, it was crazy. We were like, "Yo, he got a DUI on a moped." I was so weak. I was weak.
That's the worst way to get a DUI.
No, but for real, and it was red. It was red and black. And the crazy thing is, one of my best friend on the team. Me and him there's this place in Martinsville, like it was basically our indoor hitting facility, but it was a piece of shit. We called it the box, and it was like every time you swung, like you like duck because you didn't know where the ball was gonna ricochet off.
Oh no!
So me and a teammate were coming from or like going to practice from the box. We were like hitting early, and he like we actually passed him on the moped, like. The cops had already pulled him over.
Oh no!
So like we were cutting practice by the minute. So like when we got there, he was like, "Yo, was that Bruiser's moped that we passed?" And I was like, "I don't know." I was like, "Probably not." And then come find out like it was his moped.
Was this guy from Florida?
It was crazy. Nah, it was from Boston.
From Boston. Oh my god, that's fucking hilarious, dude.
That was like, I was like, wow, like, yo, this is really crazy. Like, but I mean, that's like, JUCO, I have so many stories from JUCO. Like
If you got another one,
first
please.
day,
Yeah, let him
oh,
rip, dude. Fuck it.
first day, we were so the coach had us like we had a week of just straight conditioning where we had to wear black shorts and a white shirt. Like he didn't give us no type of gear. So like my mom was pissed because I only came down with like white polo shirts that she got for me to go under my dress shirt. So like I had ruined like 3 of them from the sweat.
Oh
And
no.
like but so the first day we were all like conditioning outside and these two freshmen were one brought a gallon of water and the other one didn't bring any water. And this was like at the end of conditioning. And the guy who didn't bring the water like was drinking out of it. And he was like, "Hey yo, like did you ask me?" Or like it was really stupid. Like and it's just like to me it was like freshmen trying to come in there like, who's got the biggest dick, like, who's the biggest kid, like who can fight. Like to me that's what JUCO is about, like who wants to fight. So the kid like got mad at him for drinking out of his water, and they were arguing back and forth. And the coach, they sucked. They both were terrible players. Like they were god awful. So no one really cared. And the coach was like, "If y'all want to fight," he was like, "Let's square up." He was like, "Let's
No
get in a
shit.
circle."
No
Yes,
shit.
and we got this was like the first week, and I was like, "Yo, what the fuck?" We got in the circle, and he was like, "All right, let's go."
No
And
fucking
like
way.
they squared up for a good like 10 minutes, just throwing jabs at each other.
Shit.
And like a mom pulled up and was like honking the horn at him, and he was like, "All right, bring it up, bring it up."
Bring it.
And he was like, "I'll see y'all tomorrow."
That's fucking awesome, dude.
No water bottle or
Crazy.
water bottle guy?
Huh?
Who won? Water bottle guy or non-water?
Who won? Who did win? I can't remember who brought the water bottle.
It was a split decision.
But yeah, it was probably might be one of the weakest fights. But one of the kids, let's just say that, like, to put in perspective, one of the kids that was in the fight tried to run over one of our catchers, and it was like the catcher wasn't even looking. The guy was running from second. And
Oh,
the catcher,
okay. I thought you meant with a car. I was like, what the
Oh,
fuck?
no. This was at practice. Come
on, Sauce.
At practice. It was just, and like the catcher just kind of like shucked his glove like that, and the kid got laid out. Like he was like this. So he was always trying to fight people, but that was hilarious. Like I had never seen a coach tell two kids to square up before.
Yeah, he said, fuck it, just go ahead. Go at it.
Yeah, he was like, whatever, man. He was like, and I looked at him, I was like, yo, is it usually like this? He was like, JUCO's no rules, man.
JUCO,
like, I can do what I want.
Someone rule there's no rules.
Right. No rules. But yeah, that was definitely cool though. JUCO was cool. It was a fun experience.
It sounds like it, man. So you mentioned earlier that you're going to be a communication major. I was doing a little bit of research and found out that you want to be a sports commentator. Now, is there any like specific sport that you want to go into, or any specific thing that you would want to do in specific?
To be completely honest, I like the video editing and like I say like the sports announcing. Like it would all be cool, but I really haven't thought about it. To be honest, my goal is to really play at the next level. That's what
That's the other thing I saw too when I was looking through it. Is like you would tell all the reporters like Plan A is make it to the pros. Plan B is work on Plan A. Yeah, exactly.
That's like I won't be done till like I like physically or literally can't. But that's one thing that I think I should work on is like life outside of baseball. Baseball's not always there. Like I haven't gotten that. I don't know about interns. Like I haven't done anything with like school. Like it's always been, sports. So it would be cool to be a sports commentator, but I don't know.
I think the hand up that you automatically get by being a college baseball player is like, there's no question that you know the game. Like, of course you know the game. You played the game at a collegiate level. Right. And so if you were to go after something like a baseball gig or something like that, obviously you know what the hell is going on. So that's a big hand up. I will say, though, I think the fascinating part about the field all three of us are going into is that there's so much you can do.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's really no limit to it. Like especially when it comes to sports, there's the play-by-play, color commentary. You can do analyzing. You can do field work.
Mhm.
There's so much that you can do, especially if you're willing to get behind the camera or do the production stuff. There's so much stuff you can do.
Yeah, no, it's in the stuff. In the stuff. It's very true.
I
Yeah.
want to ask you about Virginia because I've never been there, and I feel there's so many misconceptions about Virginia. So could you tell us some?
Like, what have you heard
I just think
about
it's a big
Virginia?
racist area.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard
definitely.
it's the south of the north,
Well, like
the
where I
deep
was
south
in
of the north.
JUCO, where I was in JUCO, yeah, absolutely. Like
No,
they like going into where the school was, you saw two probably like they're probably like the size of flags at like major league parks of just two massive Confederate flags like just flying in the wind.
fun.
And there's always people there, huh?
You know what that says? They're just sore losers.
Well, yeah.
Sore losers.
That but like yeah, going into that, I was like, wow, like that's really crazy. But like not all parts of Virginia are like that, but you definitely have like the racist people here for sure. That's not a lie at
Now,
all.
you're a person of color. Did you ever
Mm.
run into a situation like that where you're
Oh
playing
yeah.
ball or otherwise, and
Uh,
you run into something like that?
yeah. I've run into that before where, guys get mad and want to drop the N word at you and, stuff like that. That happened to me more like in JUCO than anything.
Okay.
Not really so much in high school. I didn't really go through that. Um when I got to college, I think guys, try to they think like I said, they're big and bad but yeah, I definitely have dealt with some of that stuff in Virginia for sure.
Did the parents ever
So
say anything to you while you were playing?
I actually had a parent. This happened when I was in Florida. I played a summer league in Florida when I left JUCO, and a grandma was actually yelling at us. Yeah, she
Oh
was saying
man.
how you. It was I lived with the shortstop from JUCO that I got real cool with. It was him, his brother, and Rufus, and another guy that they know. And all of us are black. And so we were all walking, and the benches cleared in that game, but nothing happened. Like it got chirpy as a summer ball game, no big deal. And then we're shaking hands, and the four of us are together, and she's like, you kind will never make it in baseball. Like that's why we don't want your kind here. And I was like, dang, like, and like the guy ran up to his grandma and he was like, "Yo, my fault, bro." And we were just walked away. I mean, like, I'm not gonna do anything to an old lady, but
Right.
it's just stuff like that. That's like a little example of like people saying stuff like hearing stuff like that. Football was a lot worse. I got it pretty bad in football too.
Really?
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure. I
I
mean,
guess
you got all those pads on and stuff. You think they're protected. So
yeah.
There's a thing
yeah,
called the parking lot.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Right. No, I guess I find that so shocking because the presence of black males in football is a lot higher. So I would assume it's a lot more commonplace, and that wouldn't be such a thing. Like it wouldn't be
No,
so
yeah,
prominent in football. Whereas in baseball, it's few and far between that you see a black American
mm-hmm.
playing in the game. It's obviously white people and people from like Latinos, I suppose is maybe the
Mm-hmm.
right word to use. So I guess that's why that was so shocking to me. But when you have all the pads on like that, that's one thing. And then at the same time, the fans can't hear anything that's going on a football field, especially
Exactly.
when the linemen, which I assume you were a lineman, when the
Yeah, D
linemen go
tackle.
across from each other, like all bets are off.
Yeah, it's a dirty it's a dirty world in the trenches. Like if you're a lineman, it's you and that other guy. No one can really save you for real. So it's a
You
lot of
definitely have
like,
to develop your shit talking skills.
oh yeah, I mean, you got to develop your shit talking skills, your dirty moves. Like I learned that pretty fast. Like it's pretty cool though.
Sauce
It's
doesn't
pretty
have any
cool.
moves.
So
If you saw that video,
you say what?
I said you saw that video. Sauce doesn't have any moves.
No, yeah, I did see that. Sorry,
Zero.
Sauce.
Hey man, guess
Gotta
what?
come
I
in a
went
little
out
bit more
there and
aggressive.
I went out there and I tried my best, and
Yeah.
my best wasn't good enough. It wasn't even okay enough.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. My junior year, we played. It was in the playoffs, and we were the last seed. We played the number one seed, C.D. Hilton, and they had this offensive lineman named Matt Burrell, and had all these offers. He went to Ohio State,
Okay.
and this kid was like 6'4", 6'5", like well over probably like 310, 315 maybe. And like I was a junior in high school. I didn't play football like that. Like, it was my second year playing.
Right.
And I lined up in front of this dude, and he was like, "Yo, how old are you?" And I was probably like what 16 or 17 at the time. I said my age, and he was like, "Oh, it's gonna be a long night for you." And I was just like, I looked at him, and I looked at the guy beside me. I was like, "Yo, he's not lying." And the dude was like, "Come on, bro." He's like, "Come on, man." But I actually did well against him. He said I was the best D tackle he's gone against, or he went against. But he definitely worked my ass for sure. Like threw me around like a rag doll.
That's how I
It
felt.
was yeah.
That's
I
how I
definitely
felt,
know.
bro.
It's bad. I had never like met someone that made me feel like so weak. Like
So little.
that.
Small, like
Yes,
small.
yeah. That was the first encounter like I had with that. So that was crazy.
What's his
But
name? We'll get him on the pod.
Matt Burrell.
I'll look him up. I'll bother him.
Yeah, he left. He finished out his career at Sam Houston State, I think. But he played he went there his freshman year at Ohio State.
Gotcha. And then he pulled a Joe Burrow and transferred out.
Yeah, exactly. Didn't win a natty though. Didn't win a natty.
No natties. No natties involved.
Yeah, no natties.
So,
Cool.
yeah, go ahead, Cub. Go ahead, Cub. This is your part of the show anyway. I was just trying to transition into it.
I just want to play a little game with you, Korey. It's called Overrated, Underrated. I'm just going to throw random things out, and you tell me if they're overrated or underrated. All right, you ready?
All right.
Country Roads, the song.
I think it's
It's
man,
okay. It's okay.
It's
It's
a good
okay.
song. But I'm gonna go with it's a little overrated. It's a little overrated.
All right, this is a side question. Is it overrated or underrated compared to Sweet Caroline?
Ooh. Now, Sweet Caroline's a lot better.
Oh, I hate that song. I hate
you don't
Really?
like it?
I hate it.
It's a great song. I would pick Sweet Caroline over Country Roads.
White people fucking love that song.
They do.
Yeah, I know they do.
That's facts.
They like
Homie
both
who
of
was
those
on the
songs.
moped, I bet you he could sing that
Singing
bitch
out with
word
his
for
heart.
word, bro.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
He's pointing at people going, bop, bop, bop.
Yeah. Absolutely. On his moped.
All right, number 2, the Little League World Series.
Ooh, underrated for sure.
Yeah.
Underrated.
Now I've heard from people that like it's a little overplayed, and that's the reason they don't like it. But why is it underrated to you?
Shit, how is it overplayed? Like I think
I don't know. I
I
really enjoy it, but there's some people who have an uneasy feeling about exploiting kids on TV for profit.
To me, like, all right, that's just like hating at that point. Like they didn't get the opportunity. Like that shit is like it's an opportunity to like see those kids because some of those kids are like mad talented for that young,
Right?
And some of them have absolutely no business being out there. So like it's a good mix of like getting a good laugh in and like damn, like that kid might actually be nice like when he's older. Like I think it's a great way to like get like little leagues on the map. Like it's just like I think it's just a fun event to have. Like, and to be honest, I think they should make up the softball one to be more like they should get the same opportunity like with TV time and like the amount of people like why just baseball for sure.
Right.
This is our guy. That's our guy.
Oh yeah. We after Thicc Athletes Month, we do Women Athletes Month because we're all about giving a platform to people who are kind of are kind of underrepresented. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely think I definitely female sports are underrated. I have 2 sisters that play sports, so I see the side in the female side of things too.
And the
softball is incredibly difficult. But go ahead, Cub. I'm sorry to cut you off.
thing we've noticed is with the Female Athletes Month and just interviewing other women athletes, they give us the best interviews. They really.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I bet they do.
Their whole self, and they're like not cocky. They're being wholesome as shit. It's awesome.
No, yeah, I bet.
Yeah, he just shit all over your interview, Korey. He said, "Fuck your interview."
Come on. You know what I mean? Korey's giving us a top 10 interview right now.
Yeah,
without a doubt, man.
All right, number 3.
All right.
Overrated, underrated bunting.
Overrated. Overrated.
I love it.
I hate the small ball. I hate it.
The Ricky ball.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, it gets the job done. Don't get me wrong. It will in some parts, but I don't know. I just think I think moving the runners over, sacrificing the runner and doing it with a swing is a lot more challenging than to get behind the bat and watch it. You know, like, you're like literally sitting there and just boom, you're watching it. Like,
get you.
Don't get me wrong, it's hard as shit. I can't do it. That's why I don't do it. But like,
fuck a bunt, bro. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
It's a lot harder to swing and hit a moving pitch than to have it still and catch it with your bat. Like, actually, I think it's a little bit more challenging to swing and do the job than get the bunt down. But
Cub and I grew up in the same area, and there was a coach. There was a man by the name of Joe Marshall, and he coached a little league team in Crest Hill, Illinois. And his thing was bunting. The entire game was bunting. It was lay one down, lay another one down, lay another one down, lay another one down, and that's how they played offense.
And he'd harass his kids too.
You said what?
He would verbally harass his kids too.
Oh my God, dude! He would verbally harass them, and then if you didn't lay down the bunt properly, he sat on like a milk carton the entire game, and he would throw the milk carton, or he would be sitting on a bucket of baseballs. He would throw he would throw the lid to the bucket of baseballs. He would lose his fucking mind at these kids. They were kids. They were like 10. They were like 10.
That
and then he'd smoke every inning.
He would not smoke a cigarette every inning.
Yeah, that's right. He would rip cigs in between innings. That's right.
Rip heaters in between innings. That's so funny because my summer ball coach did that in Florida. He would go, I'd be like, we come in from the first inning and be like, man, you got to go rip a heater again? Like,
again?
Just started.
Oh, my God. No, one more point I wanted to make about bunting. We interviewed somebody a couple weeks ago who was saying that the reason that he went to Boise State was because they use a more professional style of offense there, where bunting really isn't a huge part of it. They like to do the swinging to try to move and advance runners, and that was an interesting comment to me because I didn't realize that there was the I guess we'll call it the little league version where you're bunting and stuff like that, and then the more professional. And I didn't realize that was something that people looked at.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really see too many guys like in the pros bunting for real. I mean, like I said, like it definitely has its situations. Like, of course, like going in the pros when a pitcher has to hit, that's always a good situation. But to be honest, you really don't see it a lot in the professional games.
Right?
It's like it's almost like a pass ball. It's kind of rare.
A rarity. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. So
I got two more.
All right.
Remember the Titans. Overrated, underrated.
I think that's an underrated movie.
From Virginia.
I think it's T.C. Williams. That's Northern Virginia. I think yeah. But then again, like I feel like a lot of people know about it. So.
All right, Raising Cane's.
What was it?
Raising Cane's.
Racing Cane's.
Oh, dude, I thought they had that there.
Cane's, the Cane's, Cane's chicken.
Cane's chicken.
Cane's chicken.
Oh, Cane's.
Don't worry, I did
the little fast food restaurant.
Yeah, with the chicken tenders.
Overrated. Zaxby's is so much better.
Oh,
okay. Hold on. How about Roy Rogers?
Never had it. Had it. They don't have that in Virginia.
That's
it.
Where in Virginia?
Where in Virginia? Yeah, I don't know. It might be like
You're just
I have yet to see Aurora Rodgers. I've heard about it though. Heard about it. But yeah.
So what puts Zaxby's over Cane's?
I think it's the crispiness of their chicken. I've yet to go.
You just be like, hey, can I get an extra? Cane's is my spot. So you're like shitting on
But-
my favorite place.
But if I have to go to a place and ask for extra crispy, or I have to go to a place and just ask for chicken and it's already extra crispy.
He makes
You know
a
what I'm
point.
saying? Like
He makes a valid point.
They know me. They know me. You know?
They know who's coming through the doors.
But
They see Korey coming. They know that chicken better be
extra
crispy.
Exactly.
How's the sauces over at Zaxby's? I've never been there.
The sauces are good. I think they're good.
Do you like the cane sauce?
I think Cane's is good, but I haven't had Zaxby's. I've had Zaxby's more. You know, Cane's is not like, and there is a Cane's around here, but I haven't gone there. I've only been like once, but I've been to Zaxby's a lot more. So
Got you.
Oh.
No, I'm just agreeing with him.
Would you say that's your favorite place to go eat in Norfolk?
Chipotle.
Ooh.
Hands down. If we're going like sinking on like the fast food place, yeah, Chipotle for sure.
There's a Chipotle by the school that I go to in Naperville, Illinois, and that Chipotle runs my fucking pockets, bro. Like it's a 5-minute walk from my dorm, and that bitch they take all my money. I don't know where it goes. And then I look at my bank account and it says Chipotle.
Yo, I just had it today.
Did you try the new queso?
The white one?
Yeah.
It's good. I heard it's better. It's better?
It's really good compared to what they had. Compared to what they had.
Okay, good. Okay, all right. Chipotle, Moe's, Qdoba. You got to rank them.
I've only had
Chipotle, Qdoba, Moe's.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just going to have to go with what Sauce said because I've only had Moe's once.
Yeah, Moe's is that like really shitty American trying to be Mexican food. Like it's so American. It's not even like it doesn't even taste like Mexican food at all.
It don't.
It's
Same school at our dining hall. One of the places you can get food from is a Moe's.
Mm.
So you can either go for free, quote unquote, for free, and get Moe's. Or you could go pay real money and go to Chipotle.
Definitely still go to Chipotle.
I'm dropping $10 to Chipotle every fucking time, bro. Every time.
You can't use your school money at like restaurants close by on campus.
No, they don't give a shit.
Damn.
They're like, "Fuck you! I don't give a fuck." They don't care, bro. They don't care.
That sucks. They even do that here. Like it's a few restaurants, but it's not a lot. But,
yeah, Chipotle don't care, bro. They be hating on the kid. I don't know what it is.
Hate to see it.
Well, hey, Korey, we've had a ton of fun with you this evening. It's been so much fun. I do want to end this interview by extending a membership to you to the Thicc Athletes Society.
Oh yeah, I definitely accept for sure.
Beautiful.
For sure.
We add another member.
I need to send a good picture.
Send us a good picture. We'll make sure that when we send out the audio version of this, we'll make sure that we use that picture, and that way everybody knows who the fuck is coming on the podcast.
All right, that's dope.
But we want to thank you for coming on. We want to thank you for giving us an hour of your time. We know that even though you're quarantined, time is still precious, and we really thank you for coming on and giving us your time.
Oh yeah, thank you guys for having me. It was great. I enjoyed it.
It was great.
Thanks, guy. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Thank you, guys.
Of course, man. Of course. And Cub, what else? We got something we want to plug here at the end or no?
Korey, plug yourself. Plug your social media.
Do you like say it right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Instagram and Twitter, they're both the same. It's Notorious Big K. And it's a 0 after the I in Notorious.
Swag.
There you go. That's it.
There you go. All right. And we're going to wrap this one up. This has been episode 84? 87. Episode 87. This has been episode 87 of the Missed Call Podcast. And we're out. Love you guys.
He said 84.
No! He left!